Is Clarence.
Oh, Clarence. Okay.
We have a report.
Thank you, Tony. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the August 18th, 2025 Hartford School Building Committee meeting. I call this meeting into order at 12:08 p.m. First item on the agenda is roll call. Mr. Little.
Mr. Shea Ajayi.
Present.
Councilman Clark.
Present.
Dr. Andre Townsend.
Present.
Mr. Al Gary. Mr. Edison Silva.
Present.
Mr. Clarence Corbin.
Present.
Ms. Shantae Browdy.
Present.
Mr. Corey Mills.
Present.
Okay, with 6 voting members present, we do have a quorum. Thank you and good afternoon all.
Thank you, Mr. Tony. Second agenda on the item is the acceptance of the minutes from the July 21st, 2025 meeting. And I'm sure that everyone on this call had a chance to review. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Corey. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor say aye or raise your hands.
Aye.
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 Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Third item on the agenda is a note for the public participation aspect of this meeting. And that note reads, public participation will be supported throughout the duration of this meeting by using the comments function on either YouTube, Facebook, or by emailing comments directly to our Director of Capital Project and Operations, Julia Jack, at julia.jack@hartford.gov prior to and or during the meeting. There are no administrative items to talk through, so I will advance the agenda and move up to the fifth item on the agenda, which is current projects under construction, CADIS, OMG, CNR, project management. Jack?
Thank you. First item today is change order number 36 to Newfield Construction for the Buckley High School renovation. The total value of this change order is $45,719. The items are deemed eligible for state reimbursement and have been approved by the change order subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement today.
Excuse me. Thank you, Jack. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Clark. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Edison Silva. Any discussion on this item? Hearing none. All in favor say aye and raise your hands.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Thank you. Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Okay, for the record, that's Ms. Brody abstaining and motion carries with the majority. Jack, second item on the agenda.
Next, we have a purchase order request to Henry Schein for dental suite equipment for the Buckley Clinic. The value of this work is $54,458. It's been reviewed and approved by the bid review committee, and we ask your endorsement.
Thank you, Jack. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Corey. Second.
Second.
Give that to Councilman Clark. Any discussion on this item? Hearing none. All in favor say aye or raise your hands.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Okay, hearing none, motion carries. Jack, check. Third item.
Next, we have purchase order increase number 1 to Whaley Computers. This is for computer equipment for the high school. Previously, we had approved 717, almost 718,000. We have an increase by the value of $2,584.23. This is to reconcile the cost of the laptops with previous quote. This has been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement.
Thank you, Jack. Is there a motion?
So moved.
So moved.
Thank you, Edison. I'll give the second to Councilman Clark. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye or raise your hands.
Aye. Aye.
Any abstentions? Motion carries. We'll move on to Buckley agenda item. Jack?
Yes, we have change order number 37 to Newfield for the Buckley Central Admin Project. This is a net credit of $11,597. We have the majority items here are some code required adjustments to the mechanical rooms in the commissary and a credit from the construction manager's contingency. So again, the net credit of $11,597. It's been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement.
So moved.
Thank you, Edison. Second, can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Corey. Any discussion on this item?
No discussion, but can we go to full screen?
Does everyone else on this call not see this current screen right now?
You want the full page such as that, or you want page width?
You know what? We're still in the process of the motion, so maybe I'll address this specific piece after.
I do have a quick question, if that's okay.
Thank you, Corey.
Can you just explain what happens with a credit? I've never seen this before. I imagine just because I'm new to the committee, but if someone could just explain what's happening a little bit more in terms of what happens with that credit, I'd appreciate it.
That credit goes back to the owner's contingency, which is typically the source of funding for any out-of-scope change orders. You'll see a couple of the first two items on this list are items that are owned in the basic scope, but for some reason needed to be covered. These are coming out of the construction manager's contingency. And as we're coming near the completion of the central admin portion of the Buckley campus work, CM was able to allow us a credit against what they were holding as CM contingency, which comes back into the owner's contingency bucket.
Gotcha. Thank you for the clarification.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jack. Any other discussion items on this agenda? Okay, hearing none. All in favor say aye or raise your hands.
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries. Really quickly, can I just address the full screen comment? I mean, I can see it on my end, but I don't know how it reflects on other people's end. So has that been resolved?
Coming through perfect on my end.
Okay.
So everyone can see the full page.
I see the full page on my end as well. I also assume others do, but it sounds like you do not. Maybe on your specific computer. So
No, I don't see the full page. When you hit, I see maybe 3/4 of the page, or it's cut off on my end. I can tell that you're scrolling on the page, but I do not see a full page.
We can either show full page, which is going to make the type very narrow, very small, or we can go page width, which is what we've been showing, so that you can actually see the data that's being displayed. So full page on, makes it quite small. So
Whatever works best. Is it like if we go full page, at least when we go to the agenda, so we know where we're at, that would be helpful.
Well,
Okay.
Typically we go from item to item once the agenda has been shared, but. All right, up next is change order number 36 to PDS concerning the Burns School project. Items are generally eligible other than some additional kitchen equipment that was requested in the value of $43,000 and change. The total value of this change order is $135,217. These items have all been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we're asking for your endorsement.
Thank you. Thank you, Jack. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Corey. Discussion. I would just, Jack, I know this was a longer conversation in the change order committee. If you could add a little bit more color to this decision so the committee here understands.
Yes, apparently there's some new leadership in the food service department, and there was a change in the type of equipment for some of the, I guess, cooling racks that were being used, as Burns is a full cooking kitchen rather than a warming kitchen. They've asked that we use a different style of unit. The other units will be usable in schools that have just a warming function rather than a full cooking function. So the original equipment that was purchased will be redeployed within the district. We do need to provide the other style for this kitchen because of the decisions by food service to how they're going to support the full cooking function. So this $43,000 will be ineligible for state reimbursement, but it's not a stranded investment because, as I mentioned, the other equipment is being redeployed.
Thank you, Jack. Any questions, discussion?
Mr. Chair, through you, I have one question.
Please.
Do we have the list of schools that the new kitchen equipment is going to be distributed to?
I do not know exactly what school they're going to put it into.
Through you, Chair?
Yes.
I'll respond shortly.
Thank you, Sherry, for the
follow-up. Put it in the chat in just a moment.
Thank you, Sherry, for the follow-up.
Thank you.
Any other discussion items on this agenda topic? Hearing none, all in favor say aye or raise your hands.
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Okay, hearing none, motion carries. Jack, next agenda item.
Next, we'll move on to purchase order increase number 1 to Red Thread. There was some additional equipment here for, excuse me, I have difficulty saying here. Adjustments to delivery schedule, as well as an adjustment to the music storage. There was a misunderstanding in that's the largest dollar value of the items here. There's some misunderstanding during the bid phase. We wanted 2 units for music storage rather than 2 individual racks. And a unit is typically made up of 4 racks. So the total modules desired is 8. We own 2 from the original bid. We're buying the remaining 6 for $30,000 of this $46,000 change. We're also making some adjustments to the delivery schedule in order to adjust to the school's occupancy schedule and to avoid some other price increases. So the total value of this purchase order increase, again with some additional items being purchased, is $46,039.54. It's been reviewed and approved by the change order subcommittee, and we ask your endorsement.
Thank you, Jack. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Corey. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Edison. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye. Raise your hands.
Aye.
Aye.
Right.
Any abstentions? Okay, a motion carries.
Moving forward to item 5B, project reports. First up is Buckley High School campus. We can report that we're still holding to our anticipated schedule at this point for end of December for the work so that the students can return after Christmas break. Work for Burns is continuing on for completion of site work in the May 2026 area. Next page. For EEO stats, we remain exceeding goals for Hartford resident and minority and women workers at Buckley. We're exceeding minority and women workers at Burns, and we've made slight improvements on the Hartford resident workers. We're now 25.6%. Next page. For Buckley High School, to date, we have paid almost $154 million. We have an unencumbered balance of about $3 million, much of which is owner's contingency and some unpurchased items. To date, out of the 153 spent, we've received just under 114 from the state of Connecticut. So we're on track with expectations for project reimbursement. For the central admin side, we've paid to date a little over 27 and a quarter. We've received almost 19 and a half on that. Again, in the 80+% range for actual dollars out the door have come back in through our grant reimbursement. So we're tracking fairly positively in that regard. Next slide. You can see some photos of spaces in the home stretch for finishes. Again, finishing the building from the 4th floor down as we work our way out. We are on target in those areas to date. We have about 160 to 170 workers on site each day at the Buckley campus. Work on basically all trades continuing at the same time there at Buckley as we both tackle major site work issues and then work our way out of the building. Now in the finishes phase, as you can see some ceiling grids and some of the lower floors illustrated there as well. Next page. Again, as we work our way out of the building, first floor bathrooms are still in the roughing process. The exterior of the building is coming along nicely. We're over 90% complete with all of the siding panels that are on the building. So it really is looking fairly well tightened up at this stage. As to the commissary, the access to the commissary will be in the area of the former auto shop building. We've moved the print shop out of there so abatement and demo can proceed. Commissary will be available again around the turn of the year, and we're in the home stretch on items on the interior of the commissary at this time. Next slide. For Burns, out of the $64.5 million, we've encumbered 60. We've paid to date almost 48.4 and received 38.9, almost 39 million. So again, healthy, 84% reimbursement to date of all items spent through our grant reimbursement. Next page. The final grouping of classrooms is going to be handed over for the beginning of school. We're hot and heavy in the punch listing effort right now. Again, August 15th was the last day of full construction activities. The teachers are working their way in for the fall semester. Furniture installations are essentially complete. The kitchen and cafeteria areas are going to be turned over. We're now at the final portion of the building to be under renovation, which is the main office auditorium portion of the building is in heavy work at this time. You can see some images of some finishes in the interior and some exterior work that is now complete. We've been doing a lot of paving out there recently in order to get the front parking area and access underway. The front entry porch, I'll call it, the terrace in front, is also being worked on heavily at this time. So we'll be ready for student return with those final areas of renovation turned over early into 2026. Next slide. And you can see more images of the exterior site work, some interior finishes areas, the cafeteria ceilings, some of the graphics within the corridors. So we're proceeding on pace, on schedule, with the work to be handed over for the start of school. And again, work, proceeding in the next 90 days. We have work on the south parking lot that will continue at Buckley, beyond the beginning of school, the demolition of the auto shop, which will provide us access into the commissary. And again, as we look through the other activities and the photos, a lot of interior finish work and working our way out of the building. The first floor is the least ready for finishes right now, with still some areas in the roughing stage. Next. Again, classroom finishes to be completed for the final area of classrooms, working heavily in the auditorium and main office areas. And that will be the heart of the work as we move through the fall. Do we have any questions on Buckley or Burns?
It's always harder and longer to work through a phase approach, but it's always nice to see again the progress that's happening. So
it's been a long process with an occupied renovation. Yes, so we're very happy to see the progress there. Thank you.
Through you,
See a
Chair.
question from Sherry.
I noted in the chat that Burns Kitchen only provides meal services for the Burns site only.
Yes, they're a full service kitchen, meaning a full cooking kitchen for the Burns community. Yes, if I left a different impression, I apologize for not being clear.
Okay, thank you. That's why I took the pause. I thought so, that they only cook for their school, but thank you for the moment to clarify.
Thank you, Sherry.
Ms.
See
Browder,
another question from Shante.
Yeah, so for everyone else that don't understand that statement, that means, because Burns is two schools in one, so the other side of the school is the pre-K magnet. So when we're saying they're cooking for Burns side only, that's what we're referring to. My request is and I'll ask this for all the school projects, that I get the breakdown per contractor so I know who's carrying what numbers. I know here is a combined number, so I won't ask it again on the other projects. I just make a blanket request for those numbers. Thank you.
Jack, is that something we can provide?
Yes, we provided that to Ms. Browdy last month. We'll continue to forward those monthly contractor breakdowns.
Thank you. Any other questions with regard to the update? Okay. Hearing none, we will move to agenda item number 6, current projects under construction, Collier project leaders. Judy? I see Judy.
Yes, I'm here.
There you go. Judy.
All right, so the first item for this is for Betances. This is change order number 12. This change order was actually a credit to the project in an amount of negative $7,682.07. And this was reviewed and approved by the change order committee, and we're seeking your endorsement on today.
Thank you, Judy. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second.
Thank you, Edison. Thank you, Corey, for the second. Any discussion on this item? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye or raise your hands.
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstention?
Abstain.
For the record, that's Ms. Brody abstaining. Motion carries 5-1 majority. Judy, next item.
The next item is for to E.B. Kennelly School for Phase 2, GMP number 5. This is the final GMP for this project. This was reviewed and approved by the change order committee to include the general trays and the fire alarm packages. And this total guaranteed maximum price is an amount of $1,082,780.12. And we're seeking your endorsement on today.
Thank you, Judy. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Silva. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye, raise your hands.
Aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions?
Abstain.
For the record, that's Ms. Brody abstaining. Motion carries with the majority. Judy? Project updates, please.
Next slide. So for the Betances and the Kennelly project, we are exceeding for minority and women workers on site. We are slowly increasing for the Hartford residency percentage. And we have been working, the construction manager and their team has been working with the labor unions as well as with Yolanda Rivera from the Connecticut Building Trades Institute to increase the Hartford percentage. Also, the construction team has been working on notifying the subcontractors on their percentages and reminding them to increase them and working with the labor unions as well as the Connecticut Building Trades. So we're slowly getting there. There are specialized trades work happening on site, and also the labor pool is being divided not only with our 2 projects that are currently in construction, but also the other construction projects that are happening in the city of Hartford. And the wish one is just a placeholder until we start construction. Any questions on those figures? All right. Shay, I also provided you and Julia those percentages and a breakdown for Ms. Brody. Would you like me to send it directly to her?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. Yes. Thank you, Judy.
I'll send that to you, Ms. Brody. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So Betances project budget is 73.4 million. Paid today is 8.2 million. Reimbursed today is 2.7 million. We are currently at 33% for reimbursement. The state did have a new process for submission, so we are delayed in putting that submission in. We are waiting on a 4.2 million that was submitted last week, and once approved, that will bring up the percentage to 80% for reimbursement. And for schedule, we're currently at 35% for completion for that northeast corner. Temporary admin and nurse have a few punch list items to take care of, and we'll be ready to turn over those in April 2026. Next slide.
I would just note, I appreciate standardizing the reimbursement formula across the projects.
Of course. All right, so you can see some pictures of the steel that has been installed into the northeast corner, those classrooms. And those piers will help, keep the building intact. And once all the piers have been installed on all floors, we'll start removing that shoring that you see in the pictures. Next slide. So in the middle section, you'll see that the foundation has been put in. To the right, I'll show you sort of a progression of completion. That is the addition being backfilled. The lower left, you'll see some underground sanitary piping that has been put in place. The middle lower picture is of the backfilling that took place. And the right lower corner, you'll see all the binder course has been installed. I went out today and they do have striping for parking. So this is the final layout once the school is complete. So we're complete with the site work. Any questions? All right, next slide. So Betances, we're finalizing the addition. We're starting to do the MEP underground utilities, tying that in. That was completed, as well as the structural steel that you saw in the pictures. In the months of September and October, we'll start to see the slab on grade being installed, as well as the masonry walls. All those we'll start to see actually structure behind the Betances School. And then inside the interior, you'll also see some framing that will start to take place within the coming months. Any questions on Betances? And by the way, we are ready for school. So as you can see with the paving, we are ready for school and start next week. All right. Next, E.B. Kennelly, 88.1 million. The total paid today is 6.0 million. Total reimbursed from the state is 3.3. That brings us to 56% for reimbursement from the state. We do have a pending submission of 2.2 million. Once approved, that will bring our percentage to 88%. So we'll start seeing those dollars roll in for reimbursement. For the temporary classrooms, we are currently at 95% complete. We have a few things that we need to take place before we're 100% complete. Addition, we are about 30% complete with the addition. Is coming around the corner. I'll show you some pictures of that. And we're 8% complete with the northeast classroom. Next slide. We are in the process of, we do have temporary power generators on site. Unfortunately, there were some delays in submission for the transformer, so we're waiting on that from Eversource, but we're confident that we will have that transformer soon. By any means, we are resuming, and we will have the start of school next week, so we'll be ready for that. Classrooms are moved in, and we have installed the fencing. So in the middle picture, you'll see sort of the exterior of the building. The top right, you'll see the gate system where they're allowed to egress out for emergencies. And you'll see some pictures of the interior layout once we moved in all the items. On the bottom right, you'll see that canopy that's covering the walkway that's connecting the existing building to the temporary classrooms. Any questions? Next slide. All right, so as you can see, the steel has been erected in the 1/3 portion of the addition. You see also the parking area that was prior to it being the binder course going down. Right now we have binder course as well as striping. So the teachers are able to start parking effective tomorrow, if need be. The bottom left, you'll see a picture of the demolition of the bleachers. Can't really see it from this angle. There's also shoring to keep that roof intact until we remove that exterior wall. So that will be happening soon. You also see the layout after the demolition of the classrooms. We're currently in the process of laying out the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing inside those classrooms. Any questions? All right, next slide. So as we talked about, we just have to finalize some IT equipment being installed prior to the students get here. That will be set up this week. The steel deck is actually started the process of being installed. I identified that today. Demolition of the gym wall that will take place in the month of September into October, as well as infilling where those bleachers were removed and also framing for those classrooms. Any questions on Kennelly? All right, next slide. So for the Freddie Wish, our budget is 67.2, paid to date 7.5 million. Total reimbursed from the state is 4.4 million with a percentage of 59% right now. We do have a submission of 1.8 million submitted to the state. Once approved, that will bring our percentage to about 70%. We are still in the process of getting approval from the state for the space waiver. Once that's approved, that will bring up the percentage more to the 80%, which is common with Betances and Kennelly School. And we're currently in the process of bidding. The bids did come in. We are over budget for this project. Most of the overage is due to new regulations from the Environmental Protection Agency for soil remediation. So our team is in the process of working with the design team as well as the construction manager to identify value management opportunities to reduce the overage. We're currently about 2.7 million over budget for this project. In addition to the new regulations, we believe that additional costs due to tariffs might be a reason why we're also over budget. When we first originally estimated this project was in January. This new EPA regulation, as you know, as well as tariffs, have gone into place afterwards. So we're being affected with those increases for the project. And currently, we do have enough contingency to cover the overage, but ultimately, we believe that we will need to request additional funds in the future. Any questions in regards to this?
I would just ask the question, given the budget concerns you're mentioning, the contingency right now, you mention cover the 2.7 million.
Yeah.
Okay,
but then it will be, you won't have as much contingency left. So we have to provide some options for you, Shay, and the team on how we can move forward with the project with knowing that we will have to consume all the contingency.
Yeah, Judy, if I may, Scott Hellman from Colliers. Yeah, in Shay, I think our intent is there's still a couple of packages that we're waiting on some final guidance from the city on final award. So we will know what the ultimate delta is. Again, as Judy had stated, we do believe there is enough money within the contingency to move the project forward. The bids were originally received at the beginning of July. So there's a 90-day period which the contractors are required to hold their bids. That will be up in the beginning of October. So our intention is to resolve the remaining open bidding items to be able to have a clear picture of the final GMP, make a recommendation to award to this committee in their September meeting. Again, as Judy stated, without getting into any real specifics, the contingency would be significantly depleted. There would be enough to proceed We feel at this time, trying to wait and rebid the project, we are pursuing some value management suggestions to try and minimize or reduce the overage. We are not going to completely eliminate that overage, but we also believe that, as Judy laid out, the justification, the new EPA requirements that hit this project as far as soil remediation, it's very interesting that the site package came in approximately 2.7 million over budget. Currently, our deficit is about $2.7 million over budget. We do anticipate that deficit to increase slightly, potentially up to around $3 million. But again, looking at what we would need to go back to the state, we believe that the amount may be low enough that they would be able to do it administratively through DAS, and it would not require legislative action. So that is our quick update. Again, our intent is to try and bring forward a plan to be able to award a project, and then discuss what additional measures we need to do to make sure that we have sufficient funding throughout the project.
Thank you, Scott. We look forward to that discussion in September then. But appreciate the heads up, of course, just so we can have it all in the front of mind. Judy, back to you.
All right, next slide. As I mentioned, value management is currently in the process of taking place. We did get approval to rebid some packages and waiting for a decision on some other outstanding packages. Our goal is to have a presentation of the GMP for next month, as well as in October, we expect to have construction mobilization and site prep start to take place on site at the Wish School. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Judy. Okay. Next on the agenda is item number 7, projects under closeout. Usually Weaver comes up in a fire alarm situation. Fortunately, has still not yet been resolved. The city continues to reach out to SLAM and their representatives frequently. As of Friday, our general counsel did reach out to SLAM and their representative, legal representative, and we are continuing to frequently persist on having a quick resolution, and we expect to have a follow-up conversation this week, to which hopefully I can have more of a substantive update for next board meeting. However, unfortunately, we are still working with SLAM to try to get to a resolution. So I don't have a substantial update for this discussion today.
I do have a question. It's just general.
Please.
Thank you. Could we, maybe this is, first of all, my apologies for being late. It's almost suicidal for me to walk in this late, and that's not something I'm accustomed to doing, but as it may, I would like to hear an explanation as to how we accept projects once they are completed. As Judy mentioned in her presentation, she was ready for school, and I'm not sure how we accept the finished product as complete. Could someone give us a very brief description as to how that process occurs?
I think that's a great question. Now, let me see if Jack can answer that question comprehensively.
Of course. Al, I think the first step on the path, and I think in context to what we're talking about in both Burns as well as Judy was reporting, is to receive either certificate of occupancy for something such as the portables, or a temporary C of O for a portion of the renovated building. We've done that a number of times at Burns as areas are being turned back over for school use. The final certificate of occupancy comes when all of the work is complete in the project, but the temporary C of O is issued progressively as we work through. As far as the overall wrap up of the project, once the projects are constructed and all of the closeout paperwork, warranties, et cetera, are collected, and we've paid out all the expenditures, we bring the projects to the committee for a vote to accept as complete. We also do the same with the Board of Ed. That then gets turned over to the state, as a request for the final audit. We have reached that point with Weaver a 3 months ago to accept it as complete and be able to move that project into closeout, as the fire alarm issue is not an issue of the original document scope, but something that's that's supplemental to the way the project was bid. As far as MLK, we do not have the totality of the state change orders reviewed, so we are not able to offer that to you and the Board of Ed at this time to accept the project at a particular value, because we're reconciling the costs and the eligibility of those state change orders. But we anticipate, since we were notified that the state is back on the job with state change orders for MLK, that in the upcoming months we should be at a point of moving that project for a vote to accept as complete as well.
Thank you, Jack. One follow through. I mean, Tom has been watching every inch of this as it goes in each and every one of our schools. But do we sit down? Do you sit down with Tom at the end of this, and you guys go drawing sheet after sheet, or is there a walkthrough with Tom, Mr. Welcome?
I believe that there are walkthroughs numerous times throughout the project with buildings and grounds. And yes, as we review the punch list and work with the architects as well as the CMs on the projects to ensure that all of the documented scope of work has been completed.
Thank you very much. That was good for me too, but mostly for our audience who's not construction literate. They must know how this all works. Thank you very much, Jack.
Al, to add to what Jack just mentioned, we have indirect contact with Tom in his office regarding the receipt of the O&Ms. And before releasing retainage, Tom's signature is required in a column, especially for the fixed-in items for the building.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Al. Thank you, John. I see Ms. Brody's hand up. Should I acknowledge that?
I think the reasoning behind, like, we've been trying to do a Weaver closeout for a very long time, and we haven't been able to do so because of this lingering fire alarm issue. And it was in the best interest of everyone that serves here that reimbursement for the city could be made. So we could have waited forever, but I know there was a high interest for the city to get reimbursed. So that's why it's like out of sorts, in the sense of we're still talking about the fire alarm. We're still trying to get, in fact, what was outlined in all specs, but knowing the city needs the funds. So that was like really the driving piece, that we want to get the city their reimbursement, but we're going to deal with getting what we were supposed to get on the flip side. So that was clearly my understanding around this particular closeout.
Of course, and that this will be a standing topic on our agenda item monthly, just so I can keep the board updated on how the city continues, hopefully, to progress with closing up the school. So certainly more to come with respect to that subject. The next item on the agenda is other business, for which I'd like to propose that we go into a brief executive session, which should be inclusive of course, all board members and Jack as well. So, Jack, Tony, can you help facilitate?
Yes, I'm just to think about logistics. And Stan, if you could advise here, my expectation is that we would excuse any attendees that are not on that list that Shay just mentioned, and then stop the recording, as the only other action would be a vote to adjourn. Is that consistent with what you've seen for other online meetings?
No, we come back because there's still a vote to adjourn formally.
I can
So
create.
I have a
room.
question regarding that. Because we don't have a meeting like we had last month, and we go into executive session and then we adjourn with many stakeholders, families, definitely worrying about school pausing and that. So I don't think that's transparent or appropriate that we're not addressing some things prior to adjourning the meeting.
Yeah, when I say adjourning, that's the last formal agenda item on the docket. So after we come back from the executive session, then we'll discuss what we need to, if there is something to discuss, and then we will adjourn.
Thank you.
Okay, Tony.
Would you like me to create a breakout room, Shay?
Yeah, that'd be great. That might be the easiest way, actually. Yes, please.
I will be inviting Jack and the committee members and yourself.
Yes.
And for the record, since the other business was not specific, I believe it's appropriate to vote to add an executive session to the agenda, and then we can vote to go into executive session.
Fair. So 2 votes on the docket, Jack?
Yeah, first the vote to add to the agenda, to insert an executive session onto the agenda, and then a vote to do so.
Can I have a motion to add the executive session to the agenda?
So move.
Thank you, Edison. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Al. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any discussion?
Usually when you go into executive session, you're going into for a specific reason, and that specific.
You went out briefly at the end of that.
Yeah, usually when you go into executive session, you aren't just going into a blanket executive session. You're being specific as to the topic of why you're going in. Like, what are you going into executive session to discuss?
Fair. It'll be the topic of general conversations regarding other businesses as it related to the last prior agenda, the last prior board meeting last week.
Yeah, I don't think that flies, but maybe, I don't know if we have an attorney or something here, because usually the topic is definitely
okay.
specific.
So then let me. So what I'll do, just to be fair and make sure that we're of course above board, I'll ask Lori to make a comment if she would like.
Sure. I mean, there are specific reasons why you can go into executive session. Various examples are pending litigation, personnel matters, I guess in the context of, Hartford School Building Committee, if you were considering bids that were not yet public, right, and decided that might be a reason. So typically you do want to give notice to the public around what generally the executive session purpose is about. And so that, in my opinion, would be something that should be stated for purposes of ensuring that the public has notice of what the executive session is generally for.
And does conversations around just physical space as a follow-up fall into that category, Lori? If not, that's okay. Then we'll just.
Can you just give me a little more understanding? Because unfortunately, I was not at the last meeting. I did review the video, but if you could just give me a little more, that would be helpful.
Conversations around looking at the space that we have for all schools and the construction dollars that we have set aside for current schools that are on the docket, and ensuring there's a comprehensive approach into how we move forward with school construction. My question to you is, does that fall into the category of having an executive session? If not, completely understand. It doesn't.
You know, I think it probably just that basic information. I don't know that it would fall in the category of executive session.
Okay, so if that's the case, then you said you don't know that it would fall in, correct? Correct.
Okay.
Since that is the case, then I would, guess we cannot vote on this, on adding that to the agenda, and also then going to an executive session.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you for your counsel. Shantae, thank you for bringing that up. Okay, if that's the case, then we'll move forward with generally under agenda item X, other business, a general follow-up with regard to the conversation last month that we had on this call, where we spoke at a high level of the considerations that are being had by council members, the city, of course, the Board of Ed as well, around a comprehensive approach, a continued comprehensive approach of school construction, especially specific with the dollars that we currently have for the allocated projects, and the fact that we are in no way going to put the dollars at risk of losing the money we have, as well as the reimbursement rate. But we want to make sure that we're moving accordingly to ensure that the space that we move forward with approving is as effective and efficient for the dollars we have. I'd be remiss if I didn't address it after our last conversation. So I wanted to address it to this board and this committee.
Mr. Chair, may I interrupt, please?
Please.
Just one moment. We have a motion hanging. What do we do with that?
Well, I was told that under Lori's guidance that we couldn't move forward with the motion. So do I have to?
I think you just the person who made the motion just rescinds the motion, and if the person who seconded agrees with it, then that's it.
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay, so for the record, who filed for the motion?
Mr. Silver.
Yeah, I think Mr. Silver did that.
Okay, Mr. Silver, can you?
Yes, I move to remove my motion.
And then the person who seconded has to agree.
And I concur. Yes.
Thank you, Al.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Now we're good.
Okay. Thank you, Al.
Yes,
so yeah, those are my comments. And I know the our new superintendent is here with us, so I wanted to maybe perhaps give him the floor, given he's a part of the conversations, along with anyone on this committee.
Thank you so much. And just for my clarity, is what you're referring to what I think I've heard about potentially halting construction on some capital improvement projects that have been previously approved?
That's accurate.
Okay, and that's as much as I know, but if there's context that I need, I'd love to learn so I can add value to the discussion.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. Definitely.
I didn't fully, I still don't fully understand what we're doing. You mentioned council, you mentioned Board of Ed. It's very, very blurred lines. in terms of what I discussed last month, in terms of authority, in terms of what a board of ed does, and in terms of what a city council does. They overlap in this committee, but they don't overlap in what a board of ed is charged with doing and what is playing out here. That makes me extremely uncomfortable.
Shantae, what I can do is I can have corporation counsel follow up with regard to authority, especially in relation to like this conversation, as well as the bylaws of this committee itself. And I would ask that Lori also join that conversation with John, just to ensure that there is no confusion in a way.
Yeah, I just want to clarify. I'm not confused about what we do on a board of ed at all. I'm confused about what the city is doing, in which the board of ed is charged and in charge of doing. That's what I am. And it's very confusing even in the community, because it's something I cannot address, because I don't speak for the mayor nor his reports. But I do know what we're charged to do per our bylaws as a board of education. So I don't need clarity around that. We need some type of understanding, because we have a very delicate situation. And I do want everyone here to fully understand that, because everyone doesn't understand the landscape of education. Everyone does not understand where we've been for at least the last 20 years that I've been paying very close attention. And one of the major things that plagues our school system, and has over the last few years, and we've gotten better at addressing it, which is renovating our buildings. We are constantly competing for our residents to attend our schools, and what other districts, being our children who are outplaced in open choice, and how CREC has these new shiny buildings that the state is approving, and they're building them quicker than we could even blink, is that they have new facilities that children deserve, and our children are not choosing a lot of the times because of what's being provided by our great staff, is what's the condition of buildings. And we were getting to addressing that and leveling the playing field, thus why these projects were approved. So there's a lot of frantic community organizations and families around this, and it is very heavy. This is probably one of the most heaviest things that I've dealt with over the last 20 years of me attending probably every board meeting that there was for the last 20 years. This right here is a no-brainer if we're thinking a family is going to choose, I'm going to send them here. Yes, they have great staff, but when it rains at Moylan, we're getting buckets, but Moylan was slated for construction, but we're pausing. This is huge. This is heavy. I lose sleep over this, and I'm very emotionally tied to it, and I'm not embarrassed to be. This is something that we don't have separate meetings, splitting up boards, trying to convince them that this is something good. Yes, this board here controls, and the city council controls what's on that capital improvement, and this board controls what goes on the list and what moves forward. But the school system, in which I sit on the board of, Hartford Public Schools, we decide what schools are slated for closure, or if we close, or that's probably a 2-year process that's trying to be crammed into months. Is unethical. It is crazy. It is not fair to anybody, any staff member, to any family, any neighborhood, any stakeholder. So we need to pause it here, and we need to let whoever reigns over certain decisions, let us do that, and let us do what we do here. They are connected, and this is, we haven't even seen yet the outcry that's about to happen. And this, I guess this is the fair warning, because we have families who have been patiently waiting for their children to be in facilities. And the only thing we're doing, and this is the last point I'll make, we are setting Hartford Public Schools up for failure, because we're actually giving our families the invitation to go somewhere else. The thing that we've been fighting to prevent is, through this decision of pausing, we are putting this decision in the hand. It's going to be a no-brainer, because I don't want my child to be in a school where, when it rains, we have to figure out what buckets and where we're going to collect over these leaky ceilings. Is not right. So just know, this is not just pausing. This is deeper than pausing. Our enrollment will continue to decrease because every other competitor has shiny new buildings. And that is where some families want to be, because that is important environment. So I'll leave it there.
Certainly, Shantae, Brody, a lot of comments that you left this board with. I don't want you to be embarrassed about your passion. I mean, your years of experience is helpful for this board here, but also for the Board of Ed. So you speak from experience, and you speak from knowledge. So thank you. Nothing that's being said here is a slate or slight to that at all. I am providing an update about what conversations are, or what is being considered. I'd say it that way, with regard to where our dollars are, and I completely agree that this is a delicate situation for our families, our children. And where we are, and we will handle it collaboratively with our community, the Board of Ed, state, and address it how we can. So I'll keep my comments short. I'd like to give time for other members of the board to speak, and I see a hand raised by Dr. Townsend.
Yes, sir. Thank you. And I'll just share. Within the last 2 weeks, when I heard that, the first thing my thought is why. So I'm more than happy to open my ears and listen, because I don't have the context of why we're pausing on construction. That's brand new off the press to me. So I think it's reasonable to say why. So can that be shared here?
Yeah, the thought about, and this is something I sort of mentioned last month, and I know the mayor has followed up with Board of Ed members, as well as, he had a brief conversation with you, Mr. Superintendent, regarding where we are and the dollars that we have for the projects. When I think just comprehensively, with respect to, I mentioned last month the budgeting aspect of schools, which of course at the end of the budget year is a large part of considerations. We are trying to take a more comprehensive approach with all, and that is all constituencies involved. Again, I'm speaking at a very high level. Andre, However, I know that the mayor will be and has followed up with the Board of Ed along with council members. Okay, I give you time. Okay. Yes, please.
Yeah,
So,
through you, Mr. Chair. I have a real concern. When Ms. Brody says we are failing our families, I don't know exactly who she's referring to. And I think I take very seriously my time and what this building committee does. And it concerns me that I don't understand really who is she saying we, because I, I'm not in this role here trying to not deliver the education that our families in this town deserve. And while I understand that, yes, there is a competitive edge, and most parents, I'm quite sure, are looking to make sure that their children are attending schools that are state of the art, that have the latest technologies and equipment available for their children to learn. And I think that's where we're headed. The thing that also concerns me is that when I hear that we're pausing, I really didn't hear of any project that's ongoing that we have on our list right now that has been paused. And that's concerning to me, because I don't know if this is really the forum for us to be discussing that. I think that we should be looking at what is proceeding at this point and to approve what's going on before taking responsibility for something that's not in our scope to decide on. And so I just say that because I feel I need to make sure that we as members of this committee are not failing in what is expected from us.
thank you, Mr. Silva. Yes, this isn't the forum to have, in-depth conversation around this. Constituencies that are involved in decision-making will be the ones that are leading this. Again, this is just a general update because, and I believe I said this last month, because this is connected with the work that this board does. Right? This board is in charge of oversight of construction projects. And I'd be remiss if you weren't aware of that. So I appreciate your comments, Mr. Silva. Are there any other comments from any other board members before we move to the next agenda item?
I have a clarifying question. This board votes on, we voted on, we had an extensive meeting prior to your chairmanship on the next schools. We voted who the construction manager is going to be, etc. We have approved things that got paused. So maybe the clarification needs to be, how does that supposed to play out? Because we vote on things here and then things get stopped outside of here. So when I say we vote on moving forward with construction and who is going to be in charge of those things, and that's how we move forward. So when something happens at the drop of a dime, if the mayor is able to say, oh, we're going to pause, how that's playing out is that's the uncertainty, right? That we move things here, but they get paused outside of here without this body's involvement. So that is what is up in the air, because it's like, okay, how is, we are not in control, I guess. Pause can happen outside of this body. And there's ramifications that happens with the pause, right? We've approved certain things here. And I don't even know what is dollar amounts attached to it. What does that mean? Are folks going to get paid for the like it is so many things that is not being said that we are responsible for here. So I'm that's what I'm not clear on.
Okay, I want to make sure I'm not cutting you off. I think you put that in a great way. Again, what I'll do is I'll have our corporation counsel follow up with guidelines and an understanding of oversight, especially as it relates to multiple bodies. That way, this board is clear on how other constituencies are involved in, especially this discussion. I think that will help clarify your question, Shante. Okay, so I'll take that as my follow-up. Lori, if you wouldn't mind connecting with John on that, that'd be helpful. Again, delicate conversation. Obviously, we are moving in the direction of our, or if we want to move in the direction of our community and what's best for the city. And we are going to continue to have conversations like this in the right spaces to make sure we're moving forward appropriately. Coming out of other business, the only agenda item that's left is adjournment. So can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Can I have a second? Thank you, Ms. Silver. Need a second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you, Corey. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any abstentions? Hearing none, motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
True.